diamonds in the rough. NFL Draft Diamonds. Time to shine.
Hi, I'm Jimmy Williams with NFL Draft Diamonds, and today I have with me Logan Bandy, who's an offensive lineman out of Calgary. How you doing, sir?
Good, how are you?
Good. So you are the first of the Canadians that I'm going to be, interviewing this go around. So obviously, the game's a little different for you, but I mean, in general, I know that there are some teams that might have some interest in the NFL. So let's just kind of get to know you a little bit, man. Tell me where you're from and just a little bit about your overall career.
Yeah, for sure. I've played my whole football career in Calgary. I went to St. Francis High School here in the city, and then I decided to move on to the University of Calgary to play for the Dinos. In my first year, I played the sixth or seventh man up on the offensive line, and then from there, I played 2 seasons, whereas a two-time conference All-Star and first team All Canadian and a second team All Canadian. So pretty amazing career so far.
Great. And where have you played along the offensive line? Have you played left tackle, right tackle? Can you sort of elaborate on that?
Yeah, for sure. Over my starts at the UC, I've only really played on the left tackle. When I was blocking tight end, obviously I was kind of all over the field, even at wide out at one point for one play and then not again. But yeah, so kind of hard stuck at left tackle, but I'm pretty confident anywhere along the line. So
Great. So I think that there's a couple different things that people could probably do with you. Obviously you could be that third tight end. That's certainly a possibility. But where do you see yourself sort of projecting at the professional level? Do you see yourself still like as a left tackle, or how do you see yourself projecting to either the NFL or CFL?
yeah, for sure. I really believe that I can play tackle at the pro level. Um, I know it's hard, and I know that spot's filled with a lot of great players, but I feel like I have, no ceiling above me, kind of thing. So the sky's the limit. That being said, I also feel like I have the build to kind of move inside if I have to, as well, play guard, center. So really, I don't feel held down by any kind of position.
Gotcha. And what is your build right now? What's your height and weight, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, for sure. I'm 6'5", around 300 pounds right now.
So 6'5", around 300. Sometimes that's a tackle, but more often than not, it's also an interior position.
Hmm.
So I think it's really just going to depend on what the professionals see you as, and really what they work you out as well. What do you believe is like the best part of your game, like the best thing you bring to the table?
Yeah, I would say my athleticism would be the best part of my game. When I'm out there running, moving around, I feel the most confident. If I ever got myself into trouble, I feel like I have the athletic ability to recover. Um, and it's something that I've found that it's really nice to fall back on if things go wrong. So it's the part of my game that I'm really proud about. Yeah.
Great. So do you see yourself as a leader out there on the football field? And if so, just kind of chat with me a little bit about, maybe your style of doing so.
Yeah, for sure. I wouldn't say that I'm the rah yell at the boys kind of leader, but more of a lead by example. When things aren't going well, you kind of put your head down and get back to work. Um, I don't like to let things dwell, and I won't let things dwell among our team. So that's the kind of leader that I'll be. If things aren't going, the way that you want them to, you can confront your team about it, kind of thing. So I'm always there to put in the best effort.
Great. I mean, so were you a team captain at all during your time there? I mean, I don't know what your guys' situation is, whether it's a game captain or team captain. I mean, but what was your role, I guess?
Yeah, we had well, I guess they were game captains, but they would be the same throughout the year.
Okay.
So I was a captain in both 2018 and 2019.
Great. So, I mean, two-time team captain. Again, you were saying 2018, 2019.
Mhm.
2020 was a different story because, I mean, there's no football, even in the professional leagues up there in Canada. I mean, all
Mhm.
because of this darn pandemic that's sort of sweeping the world and changing lives. How did this affect you, man? Like, talk to me about, like, when you first heard that, things are shut down. I mean, did that discourage you at all? I mean, just kind of walk me through your emotions there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, to be completely honest, it was heartbreaking. We won the Vandy Cup. We won the national championship in November, and then we found out, I think it was April or May, that we weren't going to have a season in the fall. So it was a couple months in advance, um, and it was really tough. It's hard to sit there and look ahead and know that there's not going to be anything to play for. Um, Luckily, we were able to get some practices, kind of like a mock training camp in. Um, but yeah, no, it was really difficult. It kind of turned into an opportunity to get better in the weight room and stuff. But at the time, it was really hard.
So, I mean, I was just thinking though, I mean, did the pandemic kind of affect your eligibility? I mean, I know that, in the NCAA, they allowed players to, come back and, still come back with some eligibility with regards to that. So walk me through just a little bit of maybe the eligibility requirements for draft stuff there in Canada, because I know it's
Mm.
a slightly different. And I don't know, did you have an opportunity to come back?
Yeah, so it's kind of contradictory to what the rules are, because the rules are, after your fourth year of eligibility, you enter the draft. But with the whole pandemic, I actually haven't used my fourth year of eligibility yet. So I've only played 3 years. If I were to come back, I'd be a fourth year player, and I'd still have my fourth and fifth year to play. Um, but I decided to enter the draft this year, just because the way that the timeline worked, it would have been my fourth year. So
Gotcha. So,
it's a little bit different in that sense, yeah.
okay. So, obviously, I mean, you're trying to, get to the next level. I'm sure you have a pro day coming up here soon. When's your pro day?
Yeah, so for the CFL Combine, we have to do online videos, you could say, and we have to have all those recorded and submitted by April 10th. So that week we're going to be kind of testing and videotaping everything, all the shuttles and the L drill and bench and everything. So
So, I mean, do you have any goals or things that you're trying to achieve, like number wise, in that pro day?
yeah, I mean, for the shuttle, like I'm trying to run, 4.5 under for the 5:10.5 shuttle. Three cone, I'm trying to run under a 7.9. Like those are numbers that I feel are attainable for me. So I've really been working hard on those change of direction drills and stuff. So
And not to put you on the spot too much, but I mean, the bench is always something that people really enjoy with the bigger guys. I mean, you don't necessarily need to tell me that, but I mean, where are you like in the weight room? Just are you preparing like strong, hard? I mean, talk me through that just slightly.
yeah, so we're working hard. We're 5 or 6 days a week. There's a group of us up here in Calgary grinding away for this combine. We're in a pretty heavy load phase right now too. So yeah, it's nice to get that work in to really prepare ourselves for this combine, and then once the virtual combine's over, to prepare ourselves for any kind of training camps or anything after that. So it's kind of a neat process in that way.
Cool. So Logan, I just want to give you the opportunity to share, maybe some of your most memorable moments there playing for the Dinos. I mean, I know that there's been a lot of great games, a lot of great plays. Share with me maybe one or two moments that have just stuck in your mind and will probably be there forever.
I mean, we like I was saying before, we won the national championship in our 2019 season. Well, I guess it'd be the last time that I truly played, which is crazy to think about. But it was a bit of a hectic year with injuries across the board. We lost a couple games during the season, and it was looking pretty tough. And we were able to squeak out a playoff game by a single point because the other team went for two and threw a pick on the last play of the game. And from there we built up and we ended up winning it all. So it was kind of a crazy year, and it was capped off by the ultimate trophy. So
Cool, man. I mean, a lot of great things, there for you in your career, there for Calgary. But now we're moving on. I mean, now we're trying to, get you a little bit more exposure, which hopefully we're doing with this interview. But tell me just a little bit about yourself, kind of outside of football. I mean, I realize that you did a little hockey and track and field back in your high school days. Want to elaborate just a little bit on that? I mean, I could just see a 300-pound guy on skates. So
yeah.
talk to me about that.
Yeah, for sure. I actually grew up playing hockey. I was playing hockey since I was like 5 years old, all the way up into high school and through high school. It was my first sport, and it was my favorite sport. But 300 pounds doesn't skate that well, unfortunately. And I was never at that elite level in hockey. So when football got serious, that's when I kind of weaned myself out of hockey. So, but I definitely miss it, to say the least. But it was kind of nice to have that dual sport approach. And it was kind of crazy to run from football practice straight to a hockey game, 3 times a week. So it was quite the way to get your activity in, I'd say.
Great. So, do you have like a favorite athlete? I mean, whether it be a hockey player or football player that maybe you admire or aspire to be, or anything like that. I mean,
Yeah,
that would be about that.
I mean, my favorite athlete growing up was always Jerome Ginla. I don't know if you've never heard of Jerome Ginla.
Sorry, dude.
Oh, that's crazy. Yeah, he's my childhood hero. Played for the Calgary Flames. Greatest captain that they'll ever have. Prolific goal scorer, power forward. So the way I really identify with his like hard nosed game, he would fight anybody on the ice, and he's the captain, right? So I think it's something that is kind of missing from hockey. Well, I guess you could say in sports in general now, is that kind of hard nosed. I'm going to be in your face all game. You're not going to take anything from me. So yeah, he was always my childhood hero.
Yeah, sorry, man. I'm not really much of a hockey fan. I really just don't have the time for it, quite honestly. I got a couple buddies that are really into it that are probably gonna, scold me for not knowing that guy.
Yeah, I think you're going to hear about that one later. That's crazy.
No, it's all right. I mean, I'm in the shadow of of Washington D.C. So I mean, I know Ovechkin, and that's about it. But I mean, other than that, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just a bad example. But what about in the playing football? I mean, is there a guy that maybe you look up to and try and maybe model your game after?
Mm-hmm. So over the last couple of years, you wouldn't know Spencer Wilson, but he's a tackle who played in the CFL for the Stampeders, and kind of through high school and into university, I've done a little bit of training with coaches that train him, and you see him playing every weekend kind of thing. So I try and model my style of play after his as much as I can, because he was a super successful guy up in the CFL. So it's always nice to have, someone that you can say that's where I want to be in a couple of years, right?
Great. So, I mean, obviously, you have some, potential to go to the next level. I mean, I'm sure that you are, one of the top CFL prospects, and even at the NFL level, people at the very least were very curious. I mean, you were invited to the Shrine Bowl, like the virtual Shrine Bowl. Did you have an opportunity to participate in that?
Yeah, so it was super disappointing that they didn't have the game this year. It's too bad, but there were a couple of Zoom calls with some NFL legends and current NFL players, so it was pretty cool to sit in and kind of soak up some knowledge and how they approach their draft process and combine process. So
Cool.
yeah, it was super
Who are some
cool.
of those names you talked to, man? I find that kind of interesting.
Yeah, so like the one, it was like Shaq Barrett and Nick Mullins and um uh trying to remember the names on the other one. Either way, there was like Hall of Famers, and it was pretty cool.
Nice. Well, I mean, at least you
Yeah.
got a chance to, talk with these guys and, they get to know you a little bit.
Mhm.
But for the people that really haven't gotten to know you a little bit, tell them like the kind of guy you are. I mean, maybe what you did as a student, or maybe some of your interests that you've had in your life.
Yeah, so I'm a bit of a nerd, you could say.
Okay, me
So in
too.
school, I'm a yeah, I'm a mind sciences major. I'm taking a bachelor of science in kinesiology at the UC. So that deals a lot with neuroanatomy and neurophysiology, as well as some psychology. So I'm super interested in how the brain works and how we interact with objects around us and with other people and stuff. So it's super cool to me, and that's what I spend my time studying. And after football, eventually, that's what I'm gonna try and focus my career in. So
Gotcha. And any other interests or hobbies that people need to know about maybe what you do, like when you're not thinking about football?
yeah, nothing
Anything else?
crazy. I'm doing school. I'm watching hockey. I'm watching football. I'm playing, getting out to the outdoor rink as much as I can. So
That's fine. I mean, at
keeping
least
it
some of us
simple.
can skate,
Yeah.
so that's fine. So if you had the opportunity maybe to give your younger self just a little bit of advice to prepare him for the next 4 or 5 years, what sort of things would you tell him?
Yeah, for sure. I'd tell my 17-year-old self to really prepare in the weight room, get in there sooner, and kind of take advantage of opportunities if they come up, because I feel like I kind of wasted a year in a way in my rookie year. I guess it was a nice stepping stone into starting at left tackle, but I feel like I could have made a bit of a bigger impact in that year. So I definitely would go back and tell myself to really push for that spot.
Great. Hey, are there any other players there at Calgary that we need to keep an eye on in the coming years? I mean, can you share maybe a couple of those players? Because I mean, I feel like each and every year there's some guys that are really just fantastic that have lots of potential. Give me
I
maybe a
mean,
few. Give me maybe a few names that come to
yeah,
mind.
I mean, this year we have along our O line, we have there's four of us that are training for this combine. We're all
Wow,
relatively pro ready, I'd say. Peter Nicastro, Tyler Packer, and Carter Como, all four of us are pretty much ready to go, and we've been grinding away. So it's a senior group, and we're looking good. So
cool. Any other shout outs that you want to give to some of the
yeah,
people that have really
yeah, yeah.
helped you along the way? I mean, whether it be teammates, coaches, family, just a few of them, not too many.
I'm not gonna get crazy on you here. No,
Sure.
I mean, obviously, you wouldn't be. I wouldn't be in these situations without the coaches that I've had along the way. Um, you know, Playing football in Canada it's not very common. It's not super popular all the time. Um, So to find those really good coaches, it can be a little bit tougher, and these coaches aren't making, you know, the huge amounts of money to coach high school football as you see in the States, and there's a huge difference there. It's more volunteer basis. So when you have these coaches and like especially at the high school level, you know, they're putting in every single evening of their personal time to come in and help you. So um, yeah, I'm just shouting out those guys along the way because they helped me get here. So
Great. So, obviously, again, like we've been saying, I mean, really one of the top CFL prospects this go around. And hopefully, you might even get an opportunity here, in the States. But before we sort of wrap up, I always ask a couple questions, and one of them is that why question. And the why question is really just, why do you play football? Why did you start playing football? And maybe like your motivation. Tell people why you play football.
yeah, I play football because, you know, growing up, we actually had season tickets to the Stamps. So the Calgary Stampeders here in Calgary. We sit all the way up at the top at McMahon Stadium, the cheaper seats. But you know, as a 7, 8, 9-year-old kid watching these, you know, professional players play in front of thousands of passionate fans because they are passionate in Canada. It really built the foundation that I want to do that one day. And it doesn't matter where I play, I just want to play. And I want to play in front of people and I want to play in front of my family. So that's really my motivation, and it hasn't changed since then.
Great. And very last thing I want to give you is an opportunity. Give your pitch to all these professional teams. Tell them why they should draft you, sign you, bring you into their
Mm.
team. What kind of player would they be getting? What kind of teammate would you be?
Yeah, I mean, I like to think that I'm a super athletic player. I like to lean on my athleticism quite a bit. Um, you know, on the field, I'm gonna work my butt off, and then off the field, I'm gonna work my butt off as well. It's uh, it's a two-way street, and I really feel like I can provide a push when needed, and I'm gonna come in and work. So
Great. Well, I mean, again, one of the top CFL prospects this year. Definitely a name to get to know. Logan Bandy. Thank you so much for your time.
yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Sure. Again, look for him. Try and find some tape, there for the Calgary Dinos. And thanks again.